Hello audience, this is Dennis Sietsma, Homestead, Florida, USA in the Redland farming area. Dennis Sietsma Productions. We're talking about the tractor, the Craftsman GT5000 that caught fire back in April or May of 2023 and did damage to the governor and a lot of other stuff. I'm working on repairs, trying to buy a new Husqvarna tractor with a 25 horse engine and a 48-inch cut, and no joy, just not available anymore. Get a 24 horse, but I want a 25. Anyway, I did some research on these puller for the flywheel, these bolts. These are like, I think, 40 millimeter bolts, but they are M8 and 1.25 threads per inch. That's mic 8 metric, 1.25 threads per whatever. Anyway, that's the kind of bolt it is. I need a longer bolt than this to really be effective. So in millimeters, this one is 50 millimeters long. So I need more than 50. 80 millimeters would be better if I could get it in the appropriate M8. That's that there. Where's my finger? There it is. M8, 1.25 threads per inch. Now, like I said, it's a little after 1 o'clock. It is still October 18th, 2023. It's a Wednesday afternoon. Here in the workshop, it's 77 degrees now. Let's go out to the tractor, and I want to show you this. And then I'll follow up with putting the flywheel on when I'm in the tripod. I had to use a punch to get, like this punch, to get out the keyway, which was in, the Woodruff key was in 2 pieces, and here's the 2 pieces. And I'm told these fail quite a bit, especially if there's a backfire or you hit something, and that can cause you all kinds of problems. Now, it wouldn't run because of that, so I used some of this gunk foamy cleaner, and I cleaned it a little bit. I didn't use the pressure washer, I just used a garden hose for now. I put some extra lubricant in the starter and extra lubricant on the governor, and I'm going to try to get this started, but you can't see it very well, but I do have a new Woodruff key installed, and you put that in at an angle, so when you put the flywheel on, it syncs up, and then you do the coils. But I want to talk a little bit about lubricants. This is WD-40, water displacement 40. It is not a lubricant, not. It does what it says: stops squeaks, cleans and protects, loosen rusted part, freeze sticky mechanism, drives out moisture. The drive out moisture is the important part. Water displacement 40. Now if it's a lubricant like this blaster, it'll say lubricant on the can. Lubricant. Don't mistake WD-40 as a lubricant. It doesn't say lubricant. And for cleaning out, I use gunk engine cleaner. I like foamy the best. There are original, and then there's a gel, but I like the foam the best. I don't know why, but I do. Anyway, I'm going to put this on tripod and show you how I put on the flywheel, and then we'll do the clearances on the ignition. I'm just going to do one to show you how it's done. And do-it-yourself work can be dangerous, cause loss of life or injury, so do any do-it-yourself work at your own risk. But this is a documentary. This is not a how-to, it's a documentary on my repairs, because I can't get a new tractor, and I could file an insurance claim for the fire and all that, but I'd rather just repair it and get it back in service, because I like this tractor, and if I don't have to replace it, I won't. But the magnets here, the magnets are still in good condition, the 4 magnets. And let me lay it here for a minute, because I got a little dirt here I want to clean out while I got it out here. Now these magnets can come loose. They're bonded to this somehow, and they can come loose, and then it destroys the stator, and then you can't charge your battery. But it's good to keep things clean when you're working on them. You'll probably spend more time cleaning than you will working to try to get rid of dirt, corrosion, and all that kind of buildup. But these are polarized magnets. So now I will attempt to put this onto there's a keyway in here, and I had to clean that out too. The keyway had dirt and garbage in it, so I had to get that out. But I got to line up the keyway with where it is here, and I hope you can see this. Do that gently and turn it just a little bit until it falls down, like so. There, the flywheel's on. Now it's important to put this bolt and tighten her down tight. Now I'm going to put a little never seize on here. Products I like to use are pretty consistent. I use Permatex, Napa, Permatex, or whatever, never seize, and I like the silver. The gold's okay, but I like silver. And I use a liberal amount. Of course, this is all dried up, so I'll throw that one away. Get another one. Reminds me I need to buy more of this stuff. I use it all the time, and I did use this on the 4 bolts for the governor, but I use a liberal amount of never seize. And some people say this will affect your torque specs, but I don't believe it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Everything's opinion. Opinion for everything, but I like to coat it real well and use never seize. Won't hurt. And I'll probably do more of the engine cleaner before I put the housing back on and call it finished. But I got to get this down tight, and without a holder for the flywheel, that isn't easy to get it really tight, because if you leave it loose, I'm a spiritual man. I believe in heaven and hell and Satan and God. And I'm saying, get away from me, Satan. I can't get this to come off. My puller. This, and it's in the sun, so it ought to be heated up. But anyway, can't get it to come off. Get away from me, Satan. You're deviling me too much. Caused me all kinds of problems today, and spiritual people are probably tested more often with trials than other folks. Who knows? It's all opinion. Anyway, I gotta get this to come out of there. Well, now where'd it go? Alright. Alright. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's getting old stuff for the birds. I don't normally let people see me struggle this much, but I need to go metric with this and get medieval on it. Oh. All right. I recently went through my tool bag of metrics and put them all together for times like this when I only want a metric. I don't want SAE. And throw them all on the ground. Get them all dirty. But hey, it's one way to get your tools out, right? Okay. See how big it is. 14 millimeter. I think it's 13. It was 13 last time. Yep, 13. And you want this really as tight as you can manage. And that's not easy to do without a good 13 millimeter, good 13 millimeter. Let's torque it down good. I'll get a 13 millimeter 6-point socket. And it's important to have 6-point sockets when you need to torque in a breaker bar. Make it good and tight. Well, the next step is going to be to put these 8 millimeter bolts back in that hold these coils. But you have to line it up like this. You have to, because here's the magnet. And it's important, the magnet will break everything right off if you don't do this properly. So get it positioned where the magnet lines up with the coil, okay? Lined up with the coil. And then you put the coil on, like so. Then you can get all this lubricant stuff out of the way. And where'd my bolts go? What'd I do with them? 8 millimeter. Oh man, I hope they're not in the grass somewhere. Sheesh. Alright, I had 4 8 millimeter bolts here somewhere before I sprayed it with the garden hose. Where'd they go? Get away from me, Satan. Satan, Satan, Satan. He's always busy. Satan. Alright, here they are. I put them over here because I was smart. I was smart. Anyway, this is not the adjustment yet. I get the bolts started gently. Don't strip these out. Don't over torque them. Don't get too crazy, because if you strip these out, you got big trouble, because they're important not to be stripped out to hold these coils. But having done that, we now have to go in and find a feeler's gauge for 10/1000ths of an inch. So I now have a feeler's gauge for 10/1000ths of an inch. Feeler's gauge. And I've had these probably 40-50 years. That's 13/1000ths. That's 16 going down, 8/1000ths, 11/1000ths. 10/1000ths should be in between. Of course they're stuck. Get away from me, Satan. I really do believe we're in a spiritual battle between good and evil, between heaven and hell, and we're actors in this play they call life. Anyway, without the religious stuff, we will talk about this. Now, I can only do one side at a time. I can't do both. I try, but it doesn't work for some reason. I just don't have the dexterity to do that. So we will take an 8 millimeter and tighten down one side gently until she's snug as a bug. Then we get our other wrench, and I always put my tools away before every break because I like to have them back where they belong, but I tighten that down snug. Okay, that side's done. Next we go to this side, and oh man, that's really snug. Oh, it's the magnet holding it snug. We're fighting against the magnet, and I got to pry to get it to come off a little bit, enough to let it go back in. And I got 10/1000ths on both sides now, but I have to tighten this. Now, don't over tighten it. Just strip it. And it looks like they got some kind of insert on these from the factory. It's not going into aluminum. There's like steel insert. Okay, just snug now. Not over tight, just snug. Okay. Alright, then you make sure there's no binding. You got to make sure the flywheel turns without scraping, and it's fine. Now we do the other coil. And I gotta turn it. This thing's got compression. Doesn't want to turn. Okay, so got it. Alright, got it lined up with that one. See? Okay. Then put the magnet or ignition coil and 2 bolts. 8mm. Both of them are 8mm. Do this. And this. And make it go a little faster. I do it by finger tight. Okay. Finger. Alright, and we have liftoff. Get it a little bit and let nature do its course here with the magnet. Hey, wrong way. Alright, go this way. Again, not too tight, just enough. 0.1 of an inch clearance. And then you have to pry this one. Oh man, that magnet is strong. Alright. And then push it up against to hold the feelers gauge in there. And you got 0.1 on both sides as soon as I tighten it. Don't over tighten it because it doesn't need it. Just snug, okay? Just you got to get a feel for this or you strip things out. It's one of the first things you learn when you're doing this kind of work. And now that I did that, and that's done, I can now do this. I can make sure it don't hit as the thing rotates. And you're not supposed to go opposite direction than the way it goes. Oh, okay, well, I did say supposed to. And I really want to tighten down that 13mm with a 6 point. And this is a 15mm. And that's no good. But it's a 6 point. And then there's, what is this? 14mm, 13mm. Okay. It's a 6 point, but I'm going to use it, and then I'll try to find a 12 point, or excuse me, 6 point. So 12 point here. Get a better bite. Doesn't make any difference. It isn't going to go anywhere. It's as tight as I can get it without using an impact, and I'm not going to do that because I don't need to. But I do want to find my 13mm socket. I like 13mm better in a 6 point, but I'll find that later, much later. And I'm coming with the battery because I want to start and run this. I got to put a little fuel in it though, too. And I don't need to show you how to do that on camera, but anyway, I put the newest battery in and I keep the older one as a spare. But your best friend is a troubleshooter for electrical is you can use a test light and make sure everything is copacetic. That you got a light that lights, okay? And this is quick and positive when you're working on electric. That's why I like this. But I always solder my bulb. Solder the bulb because it can come loose internal. Now I got to do the negative Normally you do the negative cable last, but since I got the bolt sitting right here and the nut, I could do the negative side first and crank her down. But I had a double of a time finding the right size for these, but I did finally online, and I forget what it was, but I'll look it up and I'll mention it later. The end of the video, I always have my references and research, so if I don't say it here, go to the end of the video. Now on the positive side, I got a cable, a positive cable I got to put on there. Now this is a cable I fabricated myself. I like to use marine grade wire. This is like a #1 marine grade wire I got from West Marine, and then I like to crimp them and then solder them. Make sure I got really good cables. And I got to connect this first to the starter, which is a 13mm, if I remember. You see here, 13mm. Yeah, it was there. Okay, 13mm. See if it works. Of course, get away from me, Satan. Everything fights me. I can't get the thread started. And this thing just came off, so I know it works. Oh, there's a secondary terminal here. I gotta do two. Hang on. Did one, I need two. 2, 1, 1, 2. Alright, so don't drop it in the dirt, dummy. Dummy, dummy, dummy. You big dummy. My friend Del Heinel, rest in peace, would say, you big dummy. He always said that to his dog. You big dummy. Yeah. And this is the other bolt for the other side. So, alright, so I got that in there. I just need to tighten it a little bit. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Put that with the other bits and pieces. Now, I said 13mm. Let's see if I was right. 13mm. Yeah, feels like 13mm is right. Yeah, it's amazing how much more you can tighten once you think you got it tight, finger tight. It still has more turns to it because things loosen up, get out of the way, and yada yada yada. So, alright, I want this tight enough to work, but don't strip it out, because once you get a certain point, there's no benefit. Either you got a connection or you don't. Okay, we're good there. Alright, now I run this over to the positive side of the battery. Oy, oy, oy. Work is work. Work. So we do this with this, and we call it terrific. Alright. Now, I should have this good, I should have this good. I don't have any fuel in it yet though, so it isn't all that good. And this is 10mm on the battery nuts and bolts. This is a new battery, and I don't have, well, it was new September 17. I put stickers on all my batteries because I got so much farm equipment that I need to. Now, let us see if the engine will crank. It won't start, but let's see if it cranks. Okay, camera needs to be on the other side. Let's see if we got compression and all that good. So I first go to the solenoid connection on the starter solenoid and connect it to the battery, see if it cranks without. Okay, you don't need power for ignition. These These are, if they're grounded, then they have no spark. Okay, but now we got compression and I'm able to crank it and all that. Now to give myself power for the gas solenoid, I got a jumper that. So I'll use this jumper since I have it handy and go here to my positive and yada yada, and that opens the solenoid to let gas come in if there's any in there, which there probably isn't. But there could be. So we will give it full throttle and do the choke and see if there's any gas in the chambers and see what happens. So come down here to there, and then this to give it crank. Okay, if we don't have any gas. If. Now you can blow head gaskets. This stuff's really powerful, so don't use too much. But you can use a little bit of this and take this off, because I've seen fires start with it and you can't get them out and then the whole thing burns again. So just to try to see if I can start it, even for a second or two, a good engine test is to give a little starter. Not too much, because like I said, this stuff's really powerful and it could blow a head gasket. So don't use too much. Don't use too much. And put the flame arrestor back on, because you could have a backfire if the timing's not right, and all kinds of chaos come from that. Plus, this way you find out if you got ignition without the tester. Now I have an ignition tester, but we'll get to that later. This is all a system. It should start with this for just a moment. Oi, look at that. I just sheared off this key again. Sheared it off. Well, why did it shear off? Huh. Alright gang, I got to do this all over again now. One kabang and it sheared it off. Why? Well, I don't know why. Why would it do that? Well, I still feel the keyway in there, but it won't stay. It's sheared off, and this is not holding it firmly. Anyway, gang, thanks for watching. This is all fun and games troubleshooting. Good luck out there. Godspeed. God bless you all.